Welcome to another episode of Tuning In with Bob Lancer, and
Greg Nielsen, Dr. G.
Dr. G has a little bit of extra something on his upper lip that he didn't have last episode. So it's nice to see change, right?
I like it
Things
because
change.
I keep losing more and more hair on the top.
Right. So you just bring
So
it in the
I
back.
need to feel like a man, so I have to have some money. No,
Oh, you're a
I'm
manly
kidding.
man. You've always been.
I'm kidding.
You can't help that.
Yeah.
So, why don't we open up with one of Isidore's little cosmic poems, which
Yeah.
the theme for this episode, which is on a very important aspect of organics, Isidore Friedman's organics, which this show is all about revealing, sharing the teachings of our teacher that we worked with one-on-one. He had a very small group of people, but what an impact he had on our life. Isidore
Yes.
Friedman. And so one of the central tenets of his work was measure. I remember he used to say where the measure, the measured, and the measurer meet,
Yeah.
reality. So why don't you start us off, Greg, with something?
Yeah. This comes from Songs of the Star Lords, which we have read from repeatedly. Yeah, there you go. And by the way, some of the viewers have actually contacted me and ordered copies, so that's been very nice. But I'm going to read from Cosmic Path 5, Perceptive Measure. And here we go. First comes attention, then comes measure. Measure in all things becomes a treasure to bring you safety, success, and fit, that in harmony's chariot you securely fit. Through measure, the unknown is slowly seen. Its rays show truth naked and lean. No rootless guesses and blinded hopes that eyeless robot in darkness gropes. Impersonal, sturdy, true guide and pleasure. Such is the nature of perceptive measure. Dependable guide and trusty sword to remove weeds and snares from the path of the Lord.
So to measure in all things becomes a treasure to bring
Mhm.
you safety, success, and fit, that in harmony's chariot you securely sit.
Oh, thank you for the clarity.
Well,
I think
I
I
just
might have
needed
missed
to
a
see
word
it
there.
again. I just
Yeah,
needed to see
securely
it again
sit.
because
Yeah.
it's deep, stuff. So, you can listen to a lot of teachers on YouTube, read a lot of books. I've never seen anything about measure anywhere else
Yeah,
except.
the only place I saw was when Izzy's working on the Upanishads.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
So, what are we talking about here? How does measure in all things become a treasure? What does that mean to you? How does that work?
There's so many ways we could talk about it, so I'm going to just dive in there. But each of us is a measurer, whether we know it or not. And we can increase the quality and the consistency of our measure by being more conscious. We all measure daily, just using our five senses, just driving a car, walking, listening. But we want to bring it to another level according to organics and like more conscious function, where no matter what the situation is, both physical and not, I shouldn't say both, but in all levels, physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, whatever level it is, we measure I like to say, think of it as the energy of the situation. Of course,
Mhm.
we're measuring time too, back to the STEM universe, space,
Mhm.
time, energy, matter. So we're
Mhm.
measuring consistently. And the more we do that consciously, a lot of wonderful things begin to happen, which is our treasures,
Right.
the treasure of joy, the treasure of happiness, the treasure of creativity, the treasure of just being in the moment and having a special time in our day, attracting our purpose more and more,
Mhm.
etc.
By applying measure consciously.
Yeah,
So like
exactly.
even when you decided to say, well, I'm going to jump right in, right?
Yeah.
That was a application of measure. Like
Yeah.
you measured, I'm not going to spend a long time like with a preamble. I'm going to measure how much time it's going to take to get right into the meat of the matter,
Yeah,
right?
and I just went with the flow because there's so many ways you can approach it. Obviously, I could ask you the same question, and
Sure.
you might have similar points of view, but
Pretty much, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when you talk about driving your car, so you're measuring the distance between your car and the car in front of you, depending upon the speed you're going.
Hmm.
Measuring how much you get done in a day.
Yeah.
If you do too much, you get, overwhelmed, you get drained, you get depleted, you lose your balance, you start radiating a lower vibration, more
Hmm.
chaos, right?
Right.
So measuring how much time we spend with a given person in a given context, in a given
Hmm.
situation. In speech, when Isidore talks about right speech, measuring how much time it takes me to get to the point. We can speak to someone and they just start going all over the place and we're waiting. When are we going to get to the point of this? Because I have an appointment,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we try to apply right measure in order to create harmony, balance. It's interesting also in music we have the term measure.
Oh, yeah.
Music without measure is noise.
Hmm.
So bring measure into it and you start having harmony and rhythm, right? You create beauty with measure, right?
Yeah.
Just the right amount of blue, just the right amount of red, right? So we're all doing it, like you said, often unconsciously.
Hmm.
Once we bring it into consciousness, it seems to take us up to a higher level of intelligence when it
Hmm.
comes to applying right measure.
Yeah. And of course, one of the things that happens when you're more conscious is that you are very selective. Your choices are wiser, let's put it that way, about how you're going to measure the situation with other people, with events, with situations, with the energy that you're putting out, when to slow down, when to speed up, when to stop, when
Mhm.
to take a break, when to sleep,
Mhm.
when to rest, when to eat. I mean, it goes on and on. It never stops.
So measure is basically how much, right?
Yeah.
How
How
much?
much?
How much should I talk? How much should I go into silence? How much should I listen?
Yeah.
And when I start bringing conscious measure, some kind of magic starts to happen in our life.
Hmm.
Or if we bring conscious measure into our eating, right?
Oh,
We're
yeah.
sensitive to like when we're full, right? Or conscious measures, if someone brings a beautiful dessert, well, I'm not going to have any of it. Well, okay, I can have a bite, right?
Yeah.
And have 3 bites. But if I eat 4 portions, too much, right?
Right. Too much of anything becomes an issue.
Right. And the right
Yeah.
amount could be medicine that heals.
Hmm.
Too much becomes poison. And so in every single area, we have to apply measure consciously for a higher level of result in all areas. Like, how much money should I spend on this particular thing? Oh, it feels like too much. Maybe I'll wait for another opportunity. Maybe I'll be able to get it at a better price.
Hmm.
Right? All conscious measure. You talk about conscious measure of energies. So how do you determine how much time to spend with a specific person?
I tend to go
What
by
energy level?
generally I tend to go with the feeling that I'm getting energetically. Am I feeling neutral, somewhat energized, not over energized or de-energizing? Once I start to feel too hype, maybe hyper or overexcited, I I want to slow down. Maybe I don't want to spend more time with that person. Maybe it's partly me. Maybe it's part of the day that I need to kind of slow down generally, and I'm just spending time with that person. I'm a little bit energetically off, but especially if I start to feel a little drained,
Hmm.
it's time. It's an indicator to me that perhaps I'm spending too much time doing this. Maybe it's time to alternate into something else.
Right.
And also, the quality of the experience starts to diminish, and you're forcing and you're not really measuring. You're getting compulsive and unconscious in the expression of your energy. So to answer
Or,
the, go ahead.
or just being too caught up in an idea. Like,
Yeah,
I'm supposed to stay here till 4 o'clock,
yeah,
or
exactly.
I'm supposed to stay with this person for a longer time. They might take it personally if I leave. But if we operate on that energy level of how much is enough, it seems to always work out well.
Yeah. And when you follow that on a regular basis, it becomes, I don't like to use the word habit, but you get, becomes a conscious function
Hmm. Hmm.
and you get used to doing that and it becomes part of who you are. And the more you follow it and pay attention to it, things tend to work out
Hmm.
in a wiser, healthier, beneficial way
Harmonious.
for all concerned.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Like how much time should I spend thinking about something?
Yeah.
And when we start deliberately applying right measure, because that's what this show is about. That's what organics is about. It's not about developing some kind of philosophy or belief
No,
system.
no,
It's like,
no.
what do I practice today at my job to have a
Hmm.
more harmonious, beneficial experience, right? Where just start manifesting even at higher levels. Right?
Hmm.
So I find that as I apply conscious measure, like conscious of the amount I'm doing of something,
Uh-huh.
I become more conscious. I become more sensitive to how much I can tell when it's time to stop, when it's time to start,
Hmm.
or when it's time to continue, or how long to continue. Like you can have a conversation with someone and they belabor a point. They're talking too much about it. Or you can have a conversation with someone and they're just talking too much. They're just talking too long. They're kind of, sort of greedily monopolizing all of your attention when there's a lot going on.
Hmm.
Not conscious that they're doing that, but it's causing some kind of a discord,
Hmm.
affects the vibration, which goes into our circumstances and manifests, either destructive influences into our life or with right measure,
Hmm.
constructive influences into our life.
Yeah.
I like the way the Tarot pictures measure, right measure.
Hmm.
And it's with this image right here.
Oh, okay.
It's called justice. And we see that her scales are perfectly balanced,
Hmm.
right? So she's measuring, right? And she has a sword ready to sever whenever there's an imbalance, right? To
Yeah.
stay on the balanced course in all things.
Hmm.
So like the Buddha talked about the middle way, Isidore talks about
Oh, yeah.
maintaining balance in all things. Well, how do you maintain balance? You're measuring.
Hmm.
How much am I doing something? When is it time to do less? How quickly am I functioning? Right? And you start to awaken to the feeling of mismeasurement, like when you're going too far, and that becomes your guide.
Yeah, and that's why I emphasize the word feeling. It's a feeling that's conscious. It's not a feeling that's maybe something stray from the past or some feeling about anticipation of the future. It's more of a feeling in the moment or in the present.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the way we measure on an energy level is with the feeling. So intellectually, I can create a schedule for myself. Let's say, okay, you're gonna exercise, let's say, for this amount of time. But then when I'm exercising, based on the way I feel, I might be able to tell you, know what I had planned doesn't actually fit in with the reality of the situation. So I'm not going to just stick to my plan,
Hmm.
be
Yeah,
consistent. I'm going to
exactly.
follow the energy level, the feelings to be healthy.
I know I exercise on a regular basis, and last time I went to the gym, in my mind, I had the thought, I'm going to do a half hour on the recumbent bicycle. Well, that's a map. That's not the territory.
Right.
At 20 minutes, I got a very strong feeling. That is enough for now. That
Hmm.
is enough today.
Hmm.
Just because you thought that plan or made that plan, as you said, don't have to do it. As a result, I'm sure I probably felt better over the next couple of hours rather than strain myself and go excessive. To me, a
Well,
half hour seems like nothing, but it depends on the day.
that's
Depends
right.
on the situation.
Sometimes you measure, you say, I think I'm going to go 45 minutes here.
Yeah.
I feel
Or,
like it'll benefit my body. I can handle it.
yeah.
It feels like the right.
Other times, hey, you thought about doing that, but maybe not, just take a walk and that's it.
That's right.
So,
So,
yeah.
so measuring is not something to take too lightly, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that sounds interesting. And, right measure, of course, if I pour too much water into my glass, it's going to spill. So I have to measure consciously
Hmm.
how much water I put into my glass. How much time should a person spend thinking about a particular topic?
Hmm.
Haven't you had the experience where sometimes you'll be, processing something and then all of a sudden you realize, you know what? It's time to let that go right now.
Yeah.
Stop trying to figure that out, to stop thinking about it. I've had enough mental. Let me take a break. In other words, I'm using right measure in that situation.
Hmm.
So in your experiences, have what lessons have you learned? What experiences have you gone through that can sort of reinforce the actual practice of measure in our daily lives? Can you think back to things where you did too much,
Oh,
you
my
know,
goodness, yes.
or
Oh,
spent too
yeah.
much time or money or energy on something?
I mean, and it happens, still happens.
Sure.
Fortunately, I tend to catch it more and
Hmm.
make adjustments. But like for exactly when I was younger, I was very into athletics. I way over now looking back, I way overdid it. I mean, it was like this sport. Now I go out for that sport. Now I do this sport. And in a way, it became a form of avoidance of getting to be more aware, self-conscious, and more self-reflective. Also, there was times when I became too much of a worker. Uh, Growing up with the Midwest work ethic, the more you work, the better it'll be. Well, that's a belief. It's not necessarily accurate.
It's not accurate.
No, at all. And it's
The
something
more you
that,
work, the faster you die.
mhm. Yeah, you get all kinds of problems, stress,
Yeah.
physical disability problems, health
Broken
problems.
relationships.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
become a one-dimensional person in some ways. So that is something I grew up with and thought that was normal.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
that I'm doing well because I'm working a lot.
Hmm.
And what was I working at something I enjoyed? Not necessarily. I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Right. Right.
So those are just two major areas. And of course, it happens on a daily basis. I mean,
Uh-huh.
in little minor ways.
Well,
Uh,
mismeasure can be the death of a relationship.
mhm.
If you're spending too much time, disconnected from the relationship, either doing something with your friends or
Yeah.
working, or if there's so much energy attention, time, and energy that a relationship needs to live and to thrive,
Hmm.
have to be, oh, well, I feel like doing this. I'm going to go out and play golf with my buddies, or I'm going to work, go on this work trip or something. But wait a minute, let me measure in terms of priorities.
Hmm.
Am I taking too much away from my relationship? How can I tell? Well, the only way to tell is not from the intellect.
Hmm.
The way to tell is an intuitive feeling and sense that, like even as a parent, when our children were very, very young, sometimes they cry.
Oh, yeah.
Before responding to the cry, sometimes you measure, it seems like the kid will be better off if I just let him cry it out for a little while. Let him
Absolutely.
relieve himself of stress. I don't have to rush right over to him. And then other times, the child will feel abandoned if I don't go over to him. It's
Mhm.
a constant measurement in parenting.
Exactly. Yeah, you bring up golf. I am a golfer. I'm a Zen golfer. There's a
Oh,
book
nice.
called Zen Golf.
Yeah, my
Uh,
16-year-old loves that book.
yeah, and my son just had an hour conversation with the author of the book.
Oh, nice.
But like for example, I'm supposed to go somewhere possibly this Sunday to play golf, where it's a beautiful place in the mountains. However, just because I've got a tee time doesn't mean I'm going to do it. I'm looking at the weather. I'm looking how I feel. I'm trying to make some adjustments. There's no point in forcing something. So even something like that, you bring up golf or any other activity,
Oh,
it doesn't mean it's written in stone.
no, no, that's
So I,
what Emerson is famously said, consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds.
yeah,
Meaning that just because I plan to do it or said I'm going to do it, it doesn't mean I have to do it. It's always going to be based on context, on the
yeah.
actual living context of the situation.
And the other thing is when I get there, I mean, I'm already thinking, who am I going to be playing with? I have no one in mind. They may have me connect with some people, possibly. So I need to make adjustments there. So it just never ends. I mean,
No, no, it's even in conversations, if you're conscious, how loud should I speak?
mhm.
How quickly should I speak? How close to the other person should I stand?
And as a teacher,
Yeah, go
this
ahead.
I go through this. In other words,
Yeah.
even just recently, I was teaching a class on, see, today is so yesterday, and I was asking some questions in the class, and a couple of students were sitting toward the back, but they were almost whispering, I guess you could, relative to how I heard it. So I just walked over closer and said, "Could you repeat that again? I'd like to really hear what you had to say, and I'll share it with the rest of the class because I know some other ones couldn't hear it either." So I got it out in the open. So that was a form of measurement. I made an adjustment energetically and in physiology, physically
Measure
moving.
how close should I get to
Right.
this
So
person?
instead of 25 feet, I was probably within 10 feet,
Right. Yeah.
and it made a big difference.
Yeah. I'm sure everybody, viewing this, listening to this, even if they're watching it 100 years from now, can come up with examples of people that they would have a conversation with who stood too close, talked too loud, causing them to feel discomfort, step back to try to give them a signal, it's too close for me, and they follow you because people go into these unconscious
Hmm.
behavior patterns of mismeasurement.
I did have a recent experience similar to that where I was meeting a couple of friends, and the one person seemed overbearing. I don't know, maybe they had some emotional issues at that moment. And they kind of came up like, I
Mhm.
said, "You'll have to excuse me. I'm just going to step outside for a second." And they kind of went like that. And I stood outside waiting until I felt like, okay, let's see, am I ready to go back in and see what happens there?
And sometimes
So,
balancing your energy,
mhm.
you go back in and it's a more balanced situation.
Their attention changed. They weren't really conscious of where their attention was going. It was just bouncing like a ball everywhere.
Yep. And
And
you
I
could have
just,
gotten very, discombobulated energetically
hmm.
from that situation. And that's dangerous. That's one of
Oh
the
yeah.
really clear things that Isidore points out. Sometimes he uses some extreme language in it, but the fact that our energy pattern has an influence, a direct influence upon the way our circumstances unfold.
Yes.
And a chaotic, unbalanced energy pattern is going to cause all kinds of mayhem and mishaps in a person's life. And then they're looking for someone to blame, like, oh, that person didn't do what they were supposed to do. But in your energy pattern, it was almost impossible for them to do it.
Yeah. Well, and it also it's something that I've been working on over the years. Rather, I used to have a tendency just to stay there and be polite.
And be a Taurus.
Yeah, just stay there and be polite
Right.
instead of using diplomacy, using just a very casual, relaxed statement. Well, I'll be back in a second, excuse me, or I got to take a phone call, or come up with ways of handling my energy in a measured way rather
Mhm.
than just sit there, you know,
Yeah.
and be automatically polite because they're talking, so I better listen. Yeah.
So for someone who has things that are really important in their life that they want to accomplish or create or achieve, developing a refined sense of measure is the key to higher levels of accomplishment in the most efficient way.
Hmm.
Because wherever you put your attention, time, and energy, that's where your life starts to go.
Hmm.
You have a clear sense of priorities. Now you start to employ measure of like how much attention, time, and energy can I take off of my primary focus without losing ground. Sometimes we have to just to let go, just to revive ourselves, because focusing too long on one thing, it starts to, burden our energy system.
Hmm.
Just noticing when to let go, how far to let go, how much let go. And as we apply measure consciously in daily living, we start to become very sensitized to that.
Hmm.
We can navigate our course much more efficiently, much more effectively.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, over time, it becomes more and more refined the more you apply it.
Mhm.
And that's what you talk about, the efficiency and the navigation.
Right.
And it's a wonderful experience. When I first started maybe paying attention to that through Izzy's work, the organics, it seemed like, wow, that seems like an awful lot of work. Can't people just do it? I
Right.
mean, very unrefined awareness, let's put it that way. And
Mhm.
after a while, when especially you get in tough situations and you grab on to these possible skills that you can develop,
Mhm.
measuring in organics, being conscious,
Mhm.
it really makes a difference and it pays
Yes.
dividends that are beyond belief. And you go, okay, now I'm starting to see what he means.
Mhm.
Because when I did that in that difficult situation, it made a heck of a better opportunity for me to adjust.
Well, a person wants to know they've gone through a loss, some loved one goes through transition. How long should I be in grief? How long should I stay in a mode of grief? How
Hmm.
deep into grief should I go? How much grief should I share with my children?
Mm.
How much of my grief? All measurement. And I noticed, like, even as I lift the cup, the way I started to practice measure,
Yeah.
we just do it in a very conscious way with like the simplest things, like
Yes.
how long am I going to hold up this cup?
Hmm.
Right? So I'm going to decide now to put it down. I was starting to feel the weight of it. And
Yeah.
I started to feel the weight of it. I realized, okay, that's energy draining. So now I put it down, right? Or when I take a sip,
Yeah.
how much water do I put in my mouth? How
Yeah.
quickly do I swallow? How long do I let it stay in my mouth? How gradual is my swallowing process? Now, all this might seem totally inane and
Hmm.
pointless, but it develops the power.
I think you bring up a very good point because we all tend to have habits. Habits are a wonderful thing,
Oh, yeah. We
but
could
on the
be
other
on right
hand,
now if we didn't have them.
doing the routines of every day in the way you just described is that you start to actually realign your energy field in a way.
Yes.
And quite often I've gone, okay, uh, whatever. I mean, maybe I'm going to cook dinner.
Mhm.
I'm going to cook dinner with you use measurement when you cook, obviously. You need to.
Mhm.
But when you do it consciously with measure, the enjoyment factor goes up. The quality of what you create tends to be better,
Mhm.
tastier,
Mhm.
more fulfilling.
Mhm.
And so you create a whole energy field of measurement and you start to,
And that energy field is a
mhm.
higher vibration,
Yes.
right? Like
Yeah.
even right now, you know, we're breathing.
Yeah.
Let's measure our breathing,
Hmm.
right? What is the rate of my breathing? How much breath am I bringing in? How much breath am I letting out?
Hmm.
uh, watching, measuring the breath. I'm sitting in a particular position. How long should I sit in this position? When should I start to move based on how it feels? And
Hmm.
applying it to those little things in daily living, right? Like I'm measuring how much time I'm spending making this point with you. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It raises your consciousness. I could feel my energy going up into my third eye, up the
Yeah.
chakras.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And of course, having those experiences are important because when you experience it directly yourself, it's not just reading from a book, it's not just we're talking about it, it's not just verbal.
Mhm.
Translates into an experiential, nonverbal level that reinforces that skill
Mhm.
until you actually adopt it and realize that's something you want to continue with
Mhm.
as much as possible
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
daily. Yeah.
yeah. Like we talked earlier uh, on Isidore's teachings regarding STEM universe,
Hmm.
which is really all about measure. Like
Yes.
if I'm going to make an appointment, how long is it going to take me to get there?
Yeah.
How long am I going to be there? How long to get back so that I know when to set up my next appointment, right? So I
Yeah.
don't have to rush and scramble.
Hmm.
So one of the challenges is that sort of embedded in the race psyche and the conventional way that people think and approach their lives, like rushing and scrambling is normal,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not about measure, it's about push and force and just get it done, and it doesn't matter how you feel, right? Until they've suffered enough that way.
Yeah, and that's what Izzy would sometimes use the go, go, go to be on the go, go, go. And you
Instead of the
start
go,
to,
stop, go.
yeah, you get in this like, I gotta get this, I gotta do that, I gotta hurry up, I gotta finish this. Why?
That's right. That's right. And
Why?
if we talk about he had a saying, make haste slowly.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you go too fast, you wind up overlooking stuff, and then you got to go back, because so you have to be able to measure, am I going too fast? Am I in a rush right now? Because if I'm in a rush right now, the odds are I'm overlooking something and making a mistake
Hmm.
that is I'm going to have to go back to fix. So it's like if we want to operate consciously, we can operate in, slow and stop. If you go any faster, you end up going in reverse.
Hmm.
But pace, measuring my pace during the day, consciously feeling it out. how fast am I doing this? How slowly am I doing this? And when you're measuring, your mind's not wandering while you're doing something so that you can't even tell if you're doing it too much, too long, getting too caught up in the details, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's something if you have if those of you who are listening right now are watching, this is something you have to test out for yourself. You have to try it.
Mhm.
And if you do what you said, I like the idea of just not the idea, turn the idea into function
Mhm.
is when you actually start to do something first thing in the day by measurement. How long do you lie there in the morning before you get up and move around? Or
And
do you
what
just
tells
leap out of bed?
and what tells you to stop?
Hmm.
What tells you when it's time to get out of bed, how fast
Yeah,
to get out of bed,
yeah,
right? So measuring there's a definite relationship between applying right measure to things and the practice that we talked about last time, and you have up on the screen behind you the practice of bare attention.
yeah.
Because bare attention is the foundation for right measure.
Hmm. When you're in a state of bare attention, mindfulness, there's different terms for it, but you're conscious in the moment, you become almost a natural measurer. This natural organics skill of measurement sort of rises to the surface,
Mhm.
and your feeling becomes more acute and more sensitive, like you said earlier. And then you're navigating, you're enjoying, you're moving through the day with people, with events, with appointments, with situations, with skills,
In a
with
way that
purpose.
works.
Yes.
And
And
then we also
and
talked
yeah.
in previous episodes, we've talked about progressive approximation.
Hmm.
Well, that's all about measure,
Oh yeah.
right? Like I'm writing a book. So when I start writing a book, very inspired, right? I can
Right.
sit there, I can write for hours. And then there comes the point where it's like I'm not really feeling inspired to work on this book anymore,
Hmm.
but I know that it's something I feel like I want to get done.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself time to write one page,
Yeah.
right? I'm
Exactly.
measuring to keep the ball rolling,
Hmm.
right? Rather than just, oh, I don't want to write anymore, I give it up, and then 6 months later, I wish I wrote, I got to start again. No, I'm gonna continue the momentum measuredly, right?
Hmm.
I'm not gonna force myself to do it too long.
Yeah.
Apply a certain measure of discipline. And again, how do you know what right measure is? You have to feel it. You have to live in your feelings, right? It's
Yes.
feel knowing, Isidore called it. Knowing through feeling. You get that sense. Balance is a feeling. You can feel when you're getting unbalanced. That means too much or too
Mm.
little.
Yeah.
And then you feel your way back into balance. And all of this requires, in terms of measure, living kind of slowly.
Yeah. You're really no, the hurriedness starts to evaporate out of your life. You really know, I don't want to really go there. I'd rather take it one step at a time, go slow, go far.
Go slow, go soft, go far. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's a whole different pace of living. I know from time to time you find yourself in situations where it might be required to speed up a little bit.
Mhm.
So you go in a state of awareness in the moment, bare attention,
Mhm.
and you may speed up for functional and purposeful reasons
Mhm.
without doing too much.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a measure. There are
Yeah, it's a
times
measure.
when there are times when you are called upon to move quickly,
Yeah.
right? But if you are applying consciousness, so I'm going to move quickly, but I'm going to make kind of a special effort to stay calm while I'm doing
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
Remember that if I'm moving quickly, it's easy to have accidents and missteps. So I'm going to move quickly, but very, very consciously. And if I am moving quickly, I'm not going to engage in a conversation with someone while I'm doing that, or
Hmm.
get distracted and crash into a wall, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there are times when we do have to. How do we know? It's a situational thing.
Yeah. Every
But
so
then
often.
we can also tell, you know what? I got to stop.
Yeah, and sometimes you can feel like you want to move quickly, but you realize if I move quickly, it's not a very wise measurement.
Right,
So you find a way to sort of exit.
right.
exit the situation or slow down within the situation. So there's a lot of variables there.
Yeah, or just once you realize your awareness is becoming a little bit blurred, you're losing consciousness, it's dangerous. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
I have to stop now because I don't even know if I should continue at this pace. I have to stop, slow down in order to have that clarity of consciousness. It's interesting. We have, in New Age field, metaphysical field, spiritual field, people are, flocking to healers. They want to learn, how do I heal? They want to
Mm.
go to healers. What's wonderful about organics is that you don't need a healer
No, no. You're
because
you're healing yourself.
if you're measuring, you're not messing yourself up.
Yeah.
Then if you go to a healer, right, but you're
Yep.
not becoming a more conscious being, right, you just have to keep going back and back to the healer because the cause is mismeasured living.
hmm Yeah, you're really not going to the cause of the health issue, if there is one. Uh, and the indication of whatever you're experiencing, learning to now what do I do about it? What can I do about it? Let me do it.
Right?
Even if it takes a little bit of time, you're better off ultimately than depending on some outside influence.
Yeah. And
Although
how
from time to time might need
Sure.
somebody outside yourself, of course.
Yeah,
But yeah.
sure. But you want to be able to feel
Yeah.
when you're making yourself sick.
hmm You can see it come, you can feel it coming
You can
on,
feel it
usually.
coming.
If
Yeah,
you're sensitive and you're self-aware, you're noticing, there's a little something off here.
that's
How
right.
do I make an adjustment now? And the Buddhists would say, solve your problem before you get it. Yeah. In other words, pay attention ahead of time
That's right.
because usually it's a whole process that has happened. Not always, but quite often there's a long-term process or
It
short-term
always
process.
it always involves measure.
Yeah.
It always involves, I have to do less of this right now. I need more rest, less
hmm
work. I need more solitude, less socializing. I need more outside time, right?
Right.
I need more exercise, right? I need to read something spiritual and inspiring in order to maintain that beautiful balance. Or, we
And
can
I'll,
all call
and
it
I'll add in their creativity time, being
absolutely.
creative in something, whether it's artistic or
Yep.
professional. But too much creative energy is not a healthy thing either.
Yeah, because
So if,
then you can't, balance your checkbook, right?
yeah.
So it's all a balance. How much attention should I pay to my financial situation?
hmm
How much time and energy should I put into my creative outlet? How much time and energy should I put into, my parenting or my friendship or this?
Yeah.
It's all about not just reacting based on an emotional urge or desire,
Yeah.
not based on some idea or belief of how I'm supposed to be,
hmm
but the feeling of right measure.
Yeah. I like what you said earlier, especially when you're dealing with other people and when you have close personal relationships that are healthy, more or less. You need to pay attention to the other person's measuring and consciousness and energy
Right.
because they have to be taken into consideration
Yeah.
rather than, yeah, if you do all measuring for yourself only,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's not going to work out. For example, I have a friend coming to town I haven't seen in a couple of years. They moved to Portland, Oregon. They're coming back for a visit. We needed to plan. So, what day are you available? What time are you available? Where are we going to meet? Uh, when I do meet them, I'm going to say I'm going to look at what kind of energy state are they in?
Mhm.
What kind of consciousness state are they in?
Mhm.
What am I in? So
Mhm.
I can make that experience really wonderful and positive.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
If you come in contact with them and you find that they just seem a little low in energy, a little tired, and you're
yeah,
going to be going into this like go, go, go mode, and let's go check it. You say, you
yeah,
know what? Let's just hang out on the bench a little bit and chat.
exactly.
And they're
Thank you.
like,
So
oh, thank God.
yeah, look at the situation with that person and make the adjustment rather than say, we have to do this because we planned it.
Right,
And of course, I in the past I did that a lot. I mean, we made a plan, we have to do it.
right, right.
And now I go, maybe we need to cancel,
Or like,
or maybe less time.
and as a teacher,
Yeah.
um, you can't teach someone when they're tired.
No.
So
Yeah.
why waste your energy? Why put them into stress? There's nothing gained. It's like trying to pour water on a sponge that's already sopping wet.
Yes, as a matter of fact,
Can't
that
see.
does happen from time to time when I was in a classroom and I could see the person was, quote, dead tired. All
Mhm.
they wanted to do was put their head down and sleep. So I'd say, oh, do you know the latest research is if a student is tired, just let them sleep. And there is some research that shows that. It's just practicality, energetically measurement. But and they go, what? Really? I said, yeah, go ahead. Enjoy.
They're not susceptible. Not susceptible to what you're trying to share with them.
Uh-huh.
Parents like forcing the kid to do their homework,
Oh,
They're
yeah,
bleary-eyed, they're exhausted, they can't learn, they can't retain, right?
yeah,
And it just and it makes them more and more physically and emotionally upsets the energy system. Tomorrow they go to school and some weird thing happens at school, right?
yeah.
Their energy is off. Measuring how am I affecting the other person by the way I'm interacting with them, right?
And parenting, as you say, I know that my son and his wife have a 2-year-old, and so they're learning to measure how much are they going to allow her to have screen time. That's a big thing right now with parents.
Mhm.
Not too much screen time. Make sure there's interaction with the ch other children. There's playtime that's spontaneous and whatever they create into whatever they want to do at the moment, as opposed to, you know,
Mhm.
watching TV nonstop or being on a iPad or whatever. Those
Mhm.
are all wonderful things too. But again, measure,
All in right measure.
right and
Right
measure.
amount to measure, the right amount of medicine can cure, the wrong amount of medicine can kill. Or it's like, when parents, one of the things that happens with parents when they're squabbling, and their children are being affected by it,
Oh yeah.
not measuring how much of this stress and tension are we giving to this child right now because
Yeah.
they're not paying attention. They're too caught up in what's going on between them. And then how much stress are we bringing into our relationship? The law of three, self, other,
Mm,
relationship between.
yeah.
As we're arguing here, aren't we bringing too much conflict and contention into
Yeah.
our own lives?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
And with personal relationships or love relationships, work relationships, uh, co-worker relationships,
All,
student teacher relationships,
all about measure.
bring yeah, measure is very, very critical.
It's all about measure. How much to eat, how much of what to eat, you
Yeah.
know, keeping yourself hydrated, measuring how thirsty you are,
Hmm.
when it's time I need to hydrate. Um, I think the most valuable aspect of measure, or one of the
Hydrate.
most fundamental ones, is, the amount of attention that you're giving to something or to someone, right?
Yeah.
Because your power flows in the direction of your attention. Your life flows in the direction. Isidore used to say, whatever gets your attention gets you,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that? Did you say that
Oh
with me?
yeah. Of
Yeah,
course.
whatever gets your attention gets you. So where am I putting my attention? Because that's where my life is going. If
Hmm.
I'm not conscious of how much attention I'm giving to something, I'm going to make something of lesser importance, greater importance, and then I don't have the energy and attention I need for something of more importance.
Yeah, there's a tendency to get swallowed by something. I use the word swallow in the sense of slightly obsessed to obsessed on something that you're focused on.
Right.
Uh, it could be a hobby. It could be negativity. It could be something happened to me. I want to tell everybody about it. I mean,
And I keep telling myself about it over and over
mm,
again.
yeah, and you're not paying attention to how much, again, measure attention that you're putting on that. And energy follows attention. And so you have
Yeah.
the choice to slow
Yeah.
it down or stop it and move in another direction.
And that brings us back to bare attention.
Yeah.
Because in bare attention, I'm watching my thoughts so that I'm not getting absorbed in my thoughts.
Yeah.
And as I practice bare attention on my thoughts, which is simply just observing,
Yeah.
just noticing, just witnessing, not just taking for granted that my mind is working the way I want it to, but actually watching what happens, I can start to see, oh, this is a random thought. This is a stray thought. This has nothing to do with what I want to accomplish. Every thought is using my energy. This is wasting my energy on inane thinking or
Yeah.
thinking that has no relevance to what I really want to accomplish in life.
Hmm.
If my life goes in the direction of my attention, well, where do I want my attention to go? What am I paying attention to?
Hmm.
And in every moment, what do I want? I want to have a harmonious interaction, like I'm having with the moment, like having you and I
Yeah.
being in a
Yeah.
harmonious. It's constant measure
Constant.
that we're applying in order to maintain harmony, like musicians,
Yes.
right? We're like two musicians on a stage right now, and
Yeah.
it's not for an audience,
No, no.
between you and I.
Right.
Right? And we're measuring to create this harmonious accord within us because in that harmony, everyone is blessed, everyone is
Hmm.
uplifted, everyone
Hmm.
is what I call miraculized. Everyone is
Oh, yeah. I like that word.
miraculized.
I
That's what
like
our
that.
energy is. That's what
I
harmonious
like that.
pattern is.
That could be a great title for a poem.
Miraculized.
Miraculizing.
Miraculized. Yeah. And so in a conversation, how heavy to get, how serious to get, how much kidding around, how humorous, right?
Yeah.
All measured.
I'm glad
All
you brought up about the humorous because it's fun to have friends and associations and even people you maybe not know, but have humor and laughter in your life. And of course, how much you're going to have, you don't want to spend all day, every day laughing nonstop, although sometimes it's fun, but not all day. But
I
still,
remember Isidore once said to me, and he had a way of saying things tongue in cheek, sort of,
oh
take
yeah,
it with a grain of
definitely.
salt. And he once said, seriousness is the first sign of mental illness.
Yeah. And learning how to laugh at yourself.
Or in anything.
Yeah,
In
anything.
anything. And
Take
not
time to, we're all fools in a way. We make quote mistakes or fumbles or stumbles or whatever. Laugh and go, okay, let's make an adjustment. Let's remeasure.
and we're all fools in the sense that we really don't know.
Yeah.
All experimentation.
Hmm.
You look back at your life and you said, oh, I made a mistake there, I made a mistake there. No, those were, if you pay attention, those were lessons, so you don't
Yes.
do that again.
Lessons. I like
You
that.
can apply to to future success. So how serious to take things. One of the teachers I worked with, Arnold Patton.
Oh yeah, you mentioned him. Yeah, I read his book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he used to say that if you want to know what your right path is in any situation, it has to feel simple, easy, and fun.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right measure. If it's
I
feeling
love that.
hard and grueling and difficult, no, you're going against your own energy pattern. You're going against your
Mhm.
own energy structure.
Yeah.
So measure, music, miracles, right? Protects us from madness.
Ah, yeah.
Just look at what's going on in the world, at this time, 2025, where people are yelling at each other and
Mm,
banging
yeah.
at each other, and you don't believe what I believe, and all this contention and
Yeah.
vitriol. Instead of measuring, is that the kind of energy I want to live in?
Mm,
Vitriol.
yeah.
Doesn't matter who's right or wrong. Do I want to live in vitriol? Does it work? Or does it give me an ulcer? And then I have to go look for a healer.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you start taking medication.
Uh-huh.
Or in my case, I sat too long to the point where and I did so much running because I was a runner for 30 years and not every day, but
Mhm.
I wore out my hip. I have a hip replacement.
There you go.
So there you go.
Too much.
Yeah.
Too much. So as we draw our this episode on what
Oh,
to measure,
wow. Wow. Okay.
yeah, I mean we're a little shy of 60 minutes, but maybe
Yeah.
we'll fill it in with substance. We don't
Okay.
want filler, right?
No filler.
But one of the things I've noticed as I review our shows from time to time, it's
Yeah.
so meaty, it's so substantive, and so meaningful.
Mhm.
Virtually everything that's going back and forth between us, compared to what I hear, in other kind of shows and episodes and podcasts and things, where there's a lot of nice talk and it could be kind of interesting.
We don't have a lot of fluff.
I don't have a lot of fluff. Right,
We
right.
have puff. We don't have fluff.
That's right. We have
I
a
don't
lot.
want to start a rap song here, but
Yes, yes. We're meaty, meaty. And so this is a kind of our episodes, I feel, are something that a person can listen to again and again
yes.
and again in order to bring it into conscious application, bring measure into your consciousness. Like I'm
Hmm.
moving my hands up and down, measuring how fast or how slow I bring them down. I'm placing them on the table, measuring how much pressure I'm putting on them. Just doing it consciously, you
Hmm.
start to feel the sense of awakening and higher energy, higher vibrating going through you. And
Hmm.
that starts to cause circumstances just fall in line in a beautiful way.
Yeah, we resonate and we vibrate to another force field, you can put it that way. We attract our natural energy organically,
Mhm.
and we know how to take the next step. We just sort of sense it, feel it, know it,
Mhm.
and keep going with it. And if we get it off track a little bit, we feel that and we get back on track.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Mhm.
right. So what would be your closing words of wisdom regarding, I was going to read another poem, but I think the one that you read stands well on its own.
We could always read it next time
Yeah.
too. But
So
I'm going to go with what I usually say.
Mhm.
Listen to what and watch, listen today to any other episode of Tuning In and take time to try, to do, to practice, to test, to stick with it uh, more than once, maybe 10 minutes, 1 minute, 10 minutes, repeatedly, and test it out for yourself and see how you experience your measurement, conscious measurement each day. Do that, and you're doing yourself a big favor.
well, talk for a moment about how you would describe the benefits of right measure.
Number one, your life tends to align itself, and you tend to attract people, circumstances, purpose, higher quality energy, joy, happiness, wisdom, understanding, compassion become something that you attract naturally more and more.
Better
That's a
financial condition.
And
Mhm.
it reinforces the fact this is fantastic. I mean, let's keep up with this
That's right.
because why not live a life like that as opposed to an agonizing life where you put yourself in some sort of negative energy on a consistent basis, which is very unmeasured most of the time, if not
And
all. Yeah.
take a section of the day or take
Hmm.
a day of the week or take a week of the month or a month,
Yeah.
however long you want, and just keep, maybe you write down the word measure
Yeah.
on an index card and you put it in front of you so you see it every morning when you wake up.
Hmm.
And just start bringing conscious measure, conscious, deliberate, intentional measure into everything you think, feel, say, do, all of your choices, wherever you're gonna go, right? You put the conscious measure into it. When you're speaking, right?
Hmm.
Conscious measure into it. And just watch how much better you feel, how much brighter and more beautiful your life becomes
Hmm.
just automatically from that practice, not because you're working any harder.
Yeah. It doesn't become work at that point. It becomes uh, effortless and enjoyable.
It's just, yeah, it really is.
Hmm.
It just becomes life working beautifully.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, Dr. G,
Fantastic.
um, it's been wonderful connecting with you again on this
Yeah.
episode on,
Fantastic. We'll keep it going down the road here.
yep.
Fantastic.
I will see you next time.
Next time,
In the meantime, I wish you right measure in all things.
you as well. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Adios.
Adios.